Hello everyone, I'm Brian, and welcome back to part 2. I actually looked up the triplets about my story in the first part. It's called Three Identical Strangers, and how they were separated at birth, and it's not until they went to college, one of them went to college, that they realized they had a twin brother, and then later on realized they had a third brother, or triplets. I believe. Yeah, identical triplets became separated at birth and adopted by 3 different families. Years later, they are amazed to reunite, become a global sensation. But yeah, so they were basically, I think they had same mannerism, a lot of things identical, they were not different. So maybe that comes to the conclusion that, based on this actually, I believe the experiment was nature or nurture. What took, I guess, precedence over genetically similar babies, I believe, to see whether nurture had more an impact on how they are as a person, or nature, whether it's their genes determine who they are as a person. And I think the reality is it's going to be both. Your genes is going to determine a lot of what you do and how you are as a person, but your experiences in life as well will determine who you are as a person, based on that. Anyways, we're going to finish this off.
Actually, in our tradition.
And it's interesting that even if science opens the window, and I think both of you have said it in different ways, that it's just a very small, it's still like boiling the ocean in a kerosene stove, because science can only go so far, because there's so many forms of knowing and so many forms of seeing, as you have said. So it's a challenge, I imagine.
Even science is a series of realizations, okay? I mean, science is not outside of this. Science has evolved because of series of realizations, but happening in small spurts, not grasping the entirety of it, but in bits and pieces, realization and realization and realization, this is what it is. We say he discovered something, but what it is he observed something. He realized that this is the way it works, some aspect of it. And knowing the physical dimension of how it functions allows you to do many things with the physical world, which you see in the form of technology today.
Very important thing though, but science has now brought us to what we call the portal or the door of the sub-empirical. And the sub-empirical is less than 0.01% of the unmanifest, which is scientifically unknowable, not unknown, unknowable, because how do you measure something that is totally unmanifest? It's not in space-time, okay? So once you get beyond, I think, if I can elaborate on this for just 1 minute, the 2 most open questions in science today, there are 150 open questions, but the 2 most open questions, number 1 is, what is the universe made of? And the answer is we don't know, because 96% of the universe is invisible, what they call dark energy, dark matter, but it's not, those are words. They don't know exactly what it is. One is expanding the universe, one is contracting the universe. Dark energy, 96%, that leaves 4% of the universe, which is atomic. Of that 4%, 99.99% is invisible interstellar dust, which hasn't become stars and galaxies. So the visible universe, which is all the galaxies, the billions of stars, the trillions of planets, is 0.01%. Now that 0.01%, which is made of atoms, is made of particles, but particles, when you're not looking at particles, or when they're not interacting with other particles, they disappear, they become waves. So what's the universe made of? Nothing. And this is a scientific fact. The second open question is…
Actually, I remember this in another video. We're nothing. That's kind of hilarious to think about.
Where does consciousness come from? And scientists are struggling because they think consciousness is a production of the brain. Just like, bile is a production of your gallbladder, or acid is a production of your stomach, pancreatic juice is made by your pancreas. Oh, so consciousness made by the brain. So they keep struggling. This is called the hard problem of consciousness. Sadhguru mentioned photons. Okay, this is the heart problem. This, I'll just stop in 1 second. But right now you're looking at this. This is blue, this is red, you're seeing this beautiful shirt. What's coming to your eyes are colorless photons. What's going to your brain is an electrical current. What's happening in your brain is chemistry. You're not experiencing chemistry or electrical currents. You're experiencing a three-dimensional reality in space-time. No one knows how that happens, so they keep struggling and struggling. If I ask you to imagine a beautiful sunset on the ocean, do it right now. You see a picture. There's no picture in your brain. So, the fact that the brain produces consciousness is just an idea. Nobody has ever proved that.
And I forgot to mention this in the other video when he was talking. I think maybe technology has, he talks about how far technology has come, but I don't necessarily know if it's come far enough. You look at the medieval ages, technology back in the day for the healthcare. I'm sure those were quite advanced for its time. But when you compare it to technology nowadays, it's definitely not good by comparison. But I could only imagine what technology would be like in 100 years, and even then, it might still not be good enough. Will it ever be good enough? I don't know. We could keep delving deeper into the genome, DNA, and we keep discovering more and more things and unraveling a lot of mysteries in life. And will it ever be enough? I don't know. Maybe it will at one point. Maybe it won't. Time will tell. That's always the proven point. Time will tell everything. Time will heal all wounds. Even though time is a construct as well.
Consciousness is not in the brain. The brain is in consciousness. The body is in consciousness. The mind is in consciousness. The whole universe is in consciousness. And you cannot get at it through a system of thought.
Sorry, whenever he said that, I definitely got to watch this part again, because that's actually interesting, because he was saying how we're not experiencing favorite thing here. So when I'm looking at this pen, my eyes are not, I'm not literally experiencing the pen. I'm experiencing the photons that are coming from this pen telling me that this is a black top. Yeah, it's black. Yeah, it's black. And this is a clear case with ink and whatever that magical substance is that prevents the ink from going up. And then this rubber here, so that's a nice grip, And that clicking sensation, I'm not experiencing it, I am experiencing the vibrations going into my ear, which tickles the drum in your ears that allows you to experience the sound, but it's not that. That is a very interesting thought, I guess. I don't know how else better to explain that. So what I'm looking at here, it's literally photons of light. They're telling me that this is a black cap pen with a clear center and a magical substance in the middle that writes. That's very fascinating, I will say. And I know I've said that in a few other videos, but I think it went a little bit deeper this time because of what he said about we're not literally experiencing it, we're just experiencing the electrical signals in our brains, which is telling us what that pen supposedly is.
For this, to further, make it into an experiential process, what Deepak said just now. You obviously cannot access it with thought process, because thought is an accumulated information which you're recycling according to your convenience. Right now, our ideas of who we are, or what I am and what I am not, is determined by this. If you just do this simple experiment right now, take your right hand and touch your left hand, please, all of you. Can you do this? Is that you? Is that you? Yes. Just touch the chair on which you're sitting. Is that you? Oh, who's this?
But it is. It is.
Now, in your experience, this is me and this is not me. The basis of this experience is coming from this. Where there is a sensation, you think it's me. Where there is no sensation, you think it's not me. Right now, the water in the glass is not you, but if you consume it, it becomes you. And these whatever number of kilograms you carry right now, all this was all over the planet, and today it's me. The air that you breathe, what is not you is becoming you. The food on your table, what is not you is becoming you right now. This moment, what is not you, in a couple of hours it becomes you. So, your experience of myself is basically the boundaries of your sensation. The nature of the boundaries of sensation are such, if you allow your life energies to be in a certain level of exuberance, you will see the boundaries of your sensation will expand. You can just know this just by rubbing your hands and holding it like this, you will see something begins to happen between your hands. There are sensations transmitting between the two hands. Or if you've been very joyful or ecstatic at a certain moment, you will see sensations seem to be all over the place. If you create a certain system within you where your life energies are kept in a certain level of exuberance, then the sensory body will expand. If the sensory body, let us say, became as big as this hall, then you will experience everything in this hall and everybody in this hall as a part of yourself, like you experience the 5 fingers of your hand as yourself right now. So what is referred to as yoga is, the word yoga means union. That means you experience the entire universe as yourself. This is happening because you are in such a state of… you have found a mechanism by working with the body, by working with the mind, by working with the emotion and energy, you have set up a step-by-step system within yourself where your energies are kept at such a level of exuberance that your sensory body is as large as the universe. So if you sit here, you experience the entire universe as myself. Once you experience everybody around you as yourself, then I don't have to tell you, don't kill this person, don't rob that person, don't harm this… all morality will be useless for you because you have experienced everything as myself. You don't have to try to be good. Your goodness is a consequence. Your goodness is not an effort.
That makes me think about what has… well, he clearly didn't study any of the books. I'm wondering if he studied any of maybe some of the Hinduism philosophies. Because I thought every time he's always said it, I always thought about the egg video about Brahman. Does he believe it? I don't think he's ever said anything about Brahman or Atman at all. Because that plays into what it was talking about, how when you expand your sensories, that you think everyone becomes you because you experience them. And in a sense, that's exactly what Brahman or Atman is. It's the fact that everyone is the same. Everyone is one consciousness. There's no separate consciousness. There's no individuality. Every time he said it, I thought he was talking about that. But now that he said he had never read any of those books, that… did he never… and I don't think I've ever heard him say Brahman or Atman at all. Let me know if I'm wrong on that. But he has the same philosophy. Or seems to have the same philosophy.
What he says, he's saying it experientially, okay? But the fact is, if you ask scientists, are there any boundaries in the universe, they'll tell you there isn't. Every boundary is notional or perceptual, and we don't know how perception occurs anyway. So boundaries are conceptual ideas. There are no boundaries in the universe. And there are no boundaries to your skin. In fact, what he said is your body is the entire ecosystem. It's not only the entire ecosystem of the planet. The carbon, the hydrogen, the oxygen, the nitrogen came from galaxies. So the carbon in your fingernails and the hydrogen in your eyes or the oxygen in your blood could have come from different galaxies. You are the total universe at this moment, a pattern of behavior in space-time. And before I say Jack Robinson, you're a different activity anyway. There is no permanent activity as a noun. You are not a noun, you're a verb. And the verb is the activity of the total universe. I, the most frequent word we use is I. So I say, where are you? You say, I'm here. Okay, and so then I can ask you, okay, you're here, but where am I? You say, you're there. you say, where is the I in you experiencing seeing me? I do this with neuroscientists and they'll say, in my eyes. I say, your eyes are this big, they're 9 centimeters apart, the retina is curved. By the time light gets into your retina, it's inverted, you should be seeing two of me about this size, upside down, 9 centimeters apart. You're not having that experience. Then they point to the brain and say, how do I fit inside your brain? How does this room fit inside your brain? How does the whole world fit inside your brain? There's no answer for this in science, by the way. Rumi, there's a beautiful poem. Look at your eyes, they're so small, they see enormous things. So where is the I that is experiencing this conversation right now? Where?
I will say this, and I'll keep kind of not contradicting him, but I think too much. Again, scientist is actually relatively young, so you got to give it a little bit more time. And also, science is in fact limited to the technology. Even though I do completely agree that all we're doing is realizing the facts of the universe. That, the limitation of the rules of the universe. And all we're doing is just realizing what those things are, because we never knew them. I mean, they've always been there, we just never knew them. So is that realizing it? Yeah. But yeah, you got to give science a little bit more time. It's kind of, again, like I referenced, like our knowledge from the Stone Age to the resonance, the medieval age to the industrial age. Our knowledge in science has been increasing. But whether science will be able to explain this, only time will tell. You can't expect science to know everything now. I mean, science has always existed, but our use of science is only recent. So you got to give it a little bit more time. But yeah, you can say this now. Science can only do so much because we only know so much about it, and we're limited on what we can do.
Where is it? It's the wrong question. It has no location in space or time. That is who I is. And the whole universe is in I.
So just let's wrap up this segment of the discussion. If you had $10 billion to spend on scientific exploration or giving experiences to people to get their own path of realization, where would you spend it? Both of you. I want to know.
That's easy. Realization, because science is still limited with the knowledge we know, and that money will just blow away and we'll still have issues in the world. Give it for the experience, because when we can make people better, calmer, we can develop science. Science will come with time. However, human experience to be able to calm oneself, that's desperately needed now, more than science.
Individual answers.
The answer
10, 12 words or less.
The answer is obvious, experience, but I would have a problem with that because I work with scientists. I'm going from here to a conference on science. I need to be able to talk to my peers. Okay, so while the answer is experience, and experience doesn't cost $10 billion, I would probably go science just because I'm still struggling with my scientific peers.
Sadhguru?
The experience has not become widespread because there is no infrastructure.
Yes, that's why.
Neither physical infrastructure nor human infrastructure. For example, in this country 150 years ago, they tell me over 94% of the people were illiterate. Today, 100% literacy. How does it happen? Because somebody built the schoolroom, somebody trained the teachers. That infrastructure for inner experience has been wiped out in the last few centuries. So how do you expect it to happen? One guy talking here, one guy talking there is not going to make it happen. What should be a part of our life from the day we start? Because the nature of human intelligence is such that if you don't mess it up with belief systems, every human being will find it. Too many concepts, too many ideas, too many belief systems. Human intelligence is corrupt from the beginning. If you do not corrupt human intelligence, just leave it. Every human being is capable of knowing this. It is not some superhuman thing. The most important thing to remember is this yoga, this spiritual process is not about becoming superhuman. It is about knowing that being human itself is super.
And yes, exactly. I mean, science right now, I mean, we're not, again, science has helped us survive a lot of things. And right now, the thing that is severely lacking is inner engineering in a sense. Ourselves, that is severely lacking, and at least I can say in the Western world for the most part. Again, I can't speak for other worlds. Just watching the news, you kind of see that. But anyways, right now there's nothing necessarily that science needs to solve. I mean, there's cancer and all that, and that obviously needs to be solved. But we need to also have, in a sense, inner engineering so that we stop hating each other and we can progress in society. We can focus on other things other than just our identities, our hatred, or whatever else there is that is very selfish. So yeah, that's the reason why I put it to inner engineering as opposed to just science. Science has done a great job so far. Now we need, if we slow down science to increase our self-awareness in terms of who we are and the things that we do, like anger, emotional stuff. I think we can better humanity more than science can at the moment. And then we can focus on science to, beat out the rest of the world, but the rest of the things in the world, like diseases and whatnot.
What's your definition of success?
Success is the ability to love and have compassion. Success is, to some people, the progressive realization of worthy goals. Success ultimately is knowing who you are.
Sadhguru?
If you can be blissed out no matter what's happening around you, if you can be involved and still not be affected by what's happening around you, not by removing yourself, you're absolutely involved but untouched by the process of life, I think that's success.
Wow, I said I had no definition of that.
Second question, where we'll go a little bit into the world phase. What advice would you give Angela Merkel today? Compassion or sovereignty?
It's obvious, compassion. There's no such thing as sovereignty. I think all nationalism is a sophisticated form of tribalism. I think your essential being has no religion, no race, no gender, no assumed identity. It's pure consciousness. So obviously I would say compassion.
I would not have anything to say that. I think she's the leader of the Germany, I believe. But I'd say there's, again, nothing necessarily wrong with nationalism. It's just how you take it. Much like a tool. Any identity is much like a tool, in my opinion. It's how you use it. If you use it to get to know people better, to understand their culture, to understand them as a person, that is fantastic. Absolutely love it. It is these identities that makes us different, but we should not use these identities as a way of hating each other or not liking each other. That's where the problem comes. So identity as a way of sharing and enjoying life, absolutely support. Identities in terms of hating each other, absolute trash.
Them all in, the migrants even.
Being a very big economic force, what she's managing right now, I would say if they do not invest in conflict, we won't even need their compassion. People will be fine by themselves. You should stop investing in conflict. I have heard people going to Sudan and trying to stop conflict there, conflict here, leave all this. You know who is supplying the guns, you know who is supplying the ammunition. Every day you see these terrorists or whatever shooting in the sky, obviously there's no dearth for ammunition, isn't it? They're not even shooting at the people. They have lots of it, they're shooting the sky. So obviously, someone is continuously supplying. We know where it is manufactured. I will give you the addresses if you want. Just stop it. Stop the supply of ammunition. You can't take away the guns, all right? You can take away the ammunition. At least hacking down people, they will get tired at least. Right now there is powerful mechanisms to do this. So if you do not invest in conflict, if you do not invest in creating problems in the world, we will not need your compassion.
I will say, to that matter, again, it's not necessarily that they invest in conflict, but I know where he's talking. I think I know what he's talking about like weapons and stuff. But it tends to be the fact that that much. Again, I go back to the tool example. Like you create a pickaxe to dig in the dirt, but someone will end up using it as a weapon. Is that an investment into the problem? No. Someone had a good intention of making that into like a tool so you can dig, and all of a sudden someone just used it as a weapon. And that's why I agree with what Sadhguru is talking about in another video, where the main thing is we need to work is with ourselves. Because again, he said, like, I forgot what he compared it to, but basically things are tools, and it's just how we use them is the problem. We use them for bad, they end up being bad tools. We use them for good, they're great tools. And also about the identity thing, if we didn't have identity in this world, man, where can we get Mexican food? Actually, I do go to Taco Bell, and that's not Mexican food, but still, it's close enough. Closest I'll get, I think. Even though actually I tried. Anyways, moving on.
And as a final question, if there is a saying or an affirmation that we could all use in our everyday lives, as we all progress in our quest, whatever that quest is, what would that be? What would you advise to each one? What do each one hold? Would you like to share with us?
Might seem very banal. Take it easy. Easy come, easy go. That's my epitaph.
There is no need to believe or disbelieve anything. What you know, you know. What you do not know, you do not know. If this one thing comes into every human being, everything will run smoothly around us.
Thank you both.
Some people get confused between what they know and what they believe. They think those two are the same, and I think that's where the confusion lies as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a very big hand to Sadhguru and Deepak Chopra.
So yeah, there are people who think they know, but they believe, and there's the problem. Also about the Mexican thing, man, like, honestly, how do you know you're getting Indian food? Or Japanese food, or Hawaiian food, or American food? Well, that's about everything. But anyway, you get my point. So yeah, actually, I'm glad, I looked him up actually earlier. I didn't realize he was a doctor. I know he was a doctor in terms of, at least as far as Wikipedia was concerned, alternate medicine, and I was thinking about that. It's like, that is actually being pushed, I think, right now in some cases, in terms of at least like maybe meditation, exercising, you know, not necessarily actual pills per se, but ways of taking care of your body. That way you don't have to go to a doctor to get pills. And which I completely support. But then there are also people out there who say alternate medicine and start thinking about, like, I don't know, honey on the wound, or well, I think that might be legit, I'm not sure, but like essential oils on the wound or something like that. I don't think that works, you know. But anyways, I guess that's my reaction to ancient wisdom in modern times. Deepak Chopra and Sadhguru. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.